Let's now move on to some of the best ways to actually communicate through video calls and use the features with professors, classmates, coworkers, and supervisors. Prior to getting on your video call, make sure to mute your notifications and exit out of programs that might interrupt you while you are talking or your microphone is unmuted. We all enjoy seeing a cat or a dog jump onto the call, so you don't have to take extreme measures to plan for things like that. But prior to a video call, it might be best to mitigate any potential distractions that could happen, especially if you need to do the bulk of the speaking or presenting. When you are speaking on a video call, make sure to use a strong and clear voice to make sure everyone on the call can hear you. A good habit to adopt might be that if you're speaking for a long time or presenting, that you ask participants if they can hear you well. Then you know what volume to speak for the rest of the time that you're speaking. When you're speaking for an extended period of time or presenting information, make sure to vary the pitch and speed in which you're speaking to keep conversation more engaging for listeners. No one likes listening to someone read off a PowerPoint or off their notes in a monotone voice. When you are no longer speaking, it's best to mute yourself. That way, even unintentional background noises aren't interrupting someone else while they speak. Make sure you are trying to speak for an appropriate amount of time. If this is a meeting or if someone is asking for input, try to be cognizant of how much speaking time you take up. It's also important to try not to cut other people off, which can be much more difficult in a video call. You can't tell when someone's about to unmute themselves or if they've paused for a second but still have more to say. Try to be cognizant of interrupting others on the call the same way you would in person. It can be helpful to adopt a habit of pausing, both after you're done speaking and after someone else is done speaking. If someone else is speaking and they stop, it's best to pause to make sure that they're actually done before you jump in. If they're done and they mute themselves, then you know that it's appropriate for you to start speaking. When you're speaking, it's best for you to pause every so often to see if someone else has input or they'd like to jump in. If you pause and no one says anything and you have more to say, then you know that you're free to keep going. When a meeting or a discussion has an intended topic, it's important to make sure that you're staying on topic and not making unnecessary comments or changing the subject, whether through the actual video call or through the chat feature. It's also important to listen throughout the entire call so that you don't end up repeating or covering something that someone else already talked about. Let's say that you're online shopping and someone asks for your opinion and you say the exact same thing as the person before you. That doesn't come off well for you. One way to stay focused and avoid that is by taking notes. It helps keep your focus on the call. Now let's cover presentations. If you're presenting in a video call, it can be helpful to use the chat feature to drop documents or links to articles that you're referencing. Different platforms also give you the ability to share your screen, and this can help visualize the idea that you're presenting and keep listeners and participants engaged. If you have an agenda for a meeting, drop that in the chat so that participants know what to expect. In Zoom, you can also use the poll feature. This allows you to ask participants if they're following along, if they like something, if they understand something. It's just a good way to check on participants and make sure they're engaged or following along with what you're presenting. If you're participating while someone else is presenting, make sure to use the chat feature to send messages of support or to ask questions, especially if the presenter has opened the floor for questions and they're encouraging questions to be asked. The chat can be especially helpful if you can't turn your camera on. It helps signify to presenters and instructors that you're still engaged, even though they can't see you. Lastly, it's important to know your audience. The way you conduct yourself on a video call might vary greatly from a class to interacting with a student org or your coworkers. If you're presenting or talking with an employer at our career fair, you might be much more intentional and professional in your video call. For instance, a presentation or meeting with an employer might require making introductions, thanking them for their time, asking for screen share access. Part of knowing your audience might be thinking about your location and the attire that you're wearing. Take time to think about who will be on the call before you log in. Let's also think about small talk. Maybe you're waiting on all the participants to join the call. You might ask each other how their day is going, if they've done anything fun. Maybe on a call with other students, you see something in the background that you want to comment on or ask about. In a more casual call, it's completely appropriate to comment or potentially ask about something in the background. Make sure that you read the virtual room, though, before asking about anything too personal or that you know about something that you might know about the participant, but they don't want to talk about in front of everyone else. Some last reminders. Always make sure to sign in using your recognized name in eCampus or your name on file with the university for classes. This helps instructors take attendance and know who is who. Test video call platforms ahead of time, especially if it's one you're not familiar with or one you haven't used before. Lastly, try to be punctual, just like you would in person. Logging in a minute or two early is best. If you log in late, it might be that your instructor has already started class or the presenter has already started presenting. This might mean that it's distracting for that person or that you end up sitting in the waiting room during the call because they don't notice you're there. You have now finished the Presence on Video Calls module. If you ever have questions, make sure you reach out to us in the Center for Career Development. To earn 2 points for completing this module, make sure you go back into eCampus and complete the quiz.